Hello. Today I'm going to see about doing a journal out of this Premium Plus cracker box. This is the large one that has 8 sleeves of crackers. I most often buy the smaller box that just has 4 sleeves of crackers, but Brian's been going through a lot of crackers, so I bought one of these 8 packs, and it has a nice big section in it that I can use to make a journal cover. So I thought I would do one today just to see how it works out. Maybe I'll start buying them this way all the time. And so I just want to do a journal with a flap closure. So I'm going to use this flap as a fold over flap or closure, I guess you'd say. Might have to put a button over here and do this string thing. So I want to cut these flaps off, although I could fold them in, but I think what I'm going to do is just keep it fairly simple. And I'll start by cutting the section off that I want to use. Through here. Right on this line. I want to make sure that I'm cutting square. And it looks like I'll be just on this side of the line, which is ideal. And those flaps are going to hold me up, so I'm going to cut them off with the scissors because eventually they're going to go anyway. That's easier to maneuver. So you can see I'm just cutting just inside this crease. I don't want the crease to be problem for me. I do have to move up. Maybe I can finish it with the scissors. Just get it all attached first, and then I'll go from this direction. Or stick it back in the cutter might be safer. First I'll cut this flap off. I suppose I could do a tall skinny. Is it too tall? See, I was going to do an 8.5 by 11 folded in half, which is just a little taller than this box. But if I did a tall skinny journal, then I'd have the width for my cover. It's still a bit wide, but I could do torn edges and just cut down the top and bottom. If I do a tall skinny, then I might want this to be a flap. That's what I'm thinking. Messing with it, but let's take this flap off regardless. I could always save the other side. I've got to line it up here. This is brutal. doesn't reach because this is holding the blade up off of the paper. So I gotta finish it with the scissors no matter what I do. So I just gotta concentrate and get that nice and straight. So now just to decide whether it's going to be a long skinny journal with a flap closure this way, or, and I haven't really, I've done folios, but I haven't done one like that, so maybe that's what I will do today. I think that's what I would like to do. The graphics that I'm working with, I think, will work either way. And I am kind of doing a travel theme, so I see a lot of travel notebooks that are long and skinny. I think that's sort of what they're supposed to be or something. I don't know. I haven't watched that many videos on them, but I'm gonna go with that idea. Okay, so my flap can have a bit more of a shape to it. That's kind of why I was using this, is because it had a slight angle on it, but I guess I can do that too. If this is running the same width as the, cut this now. It just doesn't quite fit in. If I cut this down, what if I cut it down to a 3-inch flap? Like this. No, 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 no. Like this. Put the crease on the 3 and cut that off. And then I'm going to do another crease about a 1/4 inch over, because it'll help it to stay closed flat once I get it full of pages. So I've got, I'll just move over about a 1/4 inch. Let's see, if I make a little mark here, and I move that mark to the edge of my, that's about a 1/4 inch, and then I will score it right down through there. And I think I've said before, I like scoring in this ruler groove because it helps me stay straight. So this one's scored well, factory scored. And then I just need to get this one to end. Going to help to have that little bit of thickness there instead of that flap always kind of being up. And then what have I got left here? I've got just under 8 inches, so 7 7/8. Yeah, I better straighten that because it's not measuring equally. So I will line hard to see, so I'm going to just make a little pencil mark. Did I have a pencil out? Sharpen one. So I'm just going to mark this. I'll mark both of these in case I need it later in the project. Just so I can see where I'm measuring to. So I know 8 is not going to cut it. So let's do 7 3/4. And that'll catch both the top and the bottom. Make sure I'm lined up across my fence here. It's just catching at the bottom. And then I better square this up too. Didn't do that yet. So here we can go 9.5, maybe. It's amazing how out of square things can be if you don't use your trimmer. And so now this edge is pretty square. Let's see. Yeah, that's good. And this edge, 9.5. And that lining up with 7 3/4. And I think I might have already checked this one, but I'll just check it again. That's pretty good too. So then I have to figure out what was left at the 7 3/4. So half of that is come on, calculator, cooperate. $7.75 divided by 2 is 3 3/4. Doesn't seem right. No, I did 7.5. 7 3/4, 7.75 divided by 2 is 3.875, which is 3 7/8. So if I score it there, then that, oh, wait a second, I want that to be a spine as well. Does it matter? No, I'm just going to do a single fold here. This is where I'll sew my signature in. And what I can see myself doing now is maybe making the flap a little shorter, but I'm going to leave it alone for right now. Giving that a good score. This is fairly heavy cardboard. Yeah, that makes it bend nice and easy. So then that'll be kind of like that. And then I think I want to do some sort of a shape on the flap. I don't want to leave it straight across. And I think I might do some small little travels, like a page edge design along here, like a collaged page edge, maybe with either postage stamps or I'll show you some of the papers I'm going to be using. I've got some that have little motifs that I could use. I'm not crazy about that. I'll put that to the inside so that I got a smooth outside to work with. But I do want to angle these edges. So since I know it's fairly straight, it's looking crooked to me right now. That's good. What I'm going to do is measure in, let's go in 1.5 inches. Yeah, that seems right, that angle. And from the other side, 1.5 inches. And then I'll use my trimmer to go from here to here. Or do I want to come over about, I don't think I want a 45-degree angle necessarily. It's 3 inches, so if I went from 2 to 1.5 inches, I think that would be a good proportion and give us a bit of a straight spot at the bottom. Because coming right off this corner might be too steep of a, I'm not sure, but I'm going to try this. Doesn't work out, I won't do it again this way, but this is how you figure out if it works. Just do it. So I'm lining my tick mark up with the groove and lining this tick mark up with the groove. Luckily my groove is a little bit dirty so I can see it. It's got paper particles down in there. So that gives me a flap, that shape, which I think is good. I think it's better than coming straight off the corner. So as you know, as you can tell, I didn't have a prototype. I'm just doing this off the cuff. How close are my triangles to? Oh, I did it wrong. I did the way I didn't want to do. So I have no choice now but to go with this. I like this better though. Damn. Darn it all. I still have the other side of the box. I can do another one. I mean, it'll be fine. It's just, I was liking that other shape. This looks like an envelope shape though. I haven't really left myself enough room for a button. Could do a small one, I suppose. Maybe I'll shorten this just a bit so it's, I don't want it right in half, but I might want it just, see if I'm, that was 3 inches. Interesting. If I go 2.5. That's a little crooked, I think. Yeah, that looks better. Gives me room for a button here and a button here. Okay, I shouldn't need that for a little bit, so I'm going to put it behind me. And then start covering the cover. So I've got, I think I'm going to do the travel theme. And I've got some Ontario vacation ads that I printed out. And I have enough to do 2 books, so I'm just going to start off with, I think I better do a background first. I can't just start with these. But I want to keep the colors in mind, so I'm going to set them up here. I don't know if you can see them, but I can see them. Let's see here. There we go. So that you'll understand why I'm picking the papers that I'm picking. And I have this travel-themed scrapbook paper. Now it's more international travel, not Ontario travel, but let's see what we can find that will work. I think I might be able, I got ideas for those, but maybe not this one. People that this is for are more into fishing and hunting, so I might not have the right paper for this, but there's bound to be something in here that's good. Like, I could see myself using these. I'm just going to put a post-it note on the ones that I think, instead of ripping them out until I'm sure. Because, you know, once they get ripped out, it's harder to store them. This one would be good too. It's kind of got some, that's Minneapolis, but it's the same sort of theme. Lakeside living, vacation, not so much like a ship. That's nice, but I don't know about it for this journal. It's more Far East. I don't think my recipient is a wine drinker. The colors are really good. So I think I will rip out both of those pages. Well, at least one. I know it's in there. I'll mark it. I may want it for the other journal. If I do 2 the same. And the map probably be good. It's the right colors too. It's kind of that faded yellows and oranges. So this is shaping up pretty good. Those color combos. I like this one. It's a bit darker. There's a couple of cues. I would need a couple of cues. Q, W, E, E, N. I need another E. I've got 2 pages of this, so I could spell out Queener, which is the last name of the recipients. The sewing paper I like, but not for this journal. The books. The leather. That would work well too. Because I'm going to do a little bit of collaging, and then I'm going to need inside cover pages. I'll do collaging on the front probably, and a flat cover page on the inside. I like those two. That one. I'll mark that. Oh, yes. I really like that. not going to use it in this journal. Okay, that'll get us started, and then we'll see where it takes us. I have coffee dyed paper for the insides, so I guess I could also see how that's going to work. I might include some coffee dye in my collage as well. I have lots of scraps. So if I have a signature here, I need to cut this off. Well, I wouldn't cut them until I've got them all nested, but go back there, but there it is. It's going to be somewhere around here, just inside of that crease. And then height-wise, if I rip top and bottom, would need to be something like that. So this would go, and this would go, and this would go. So that'll work out. Won't be very much waste at all for those pages. So let's start doing a little collaging. Pull my beige papers out. They're the top drawer of my cart. I have one of those cart with the rainbow colors. I think it's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 drawers. So I have them separated according to type of paper, kind of. I've got coffee dyed and neutrals in the top drawer, and then maps, book page, music paper, black and white and gray. And then I've got one drawer that's for like when I do harvesting out of books, little pictures or little wording. And then I've got colors, like one drawer is green, blue, purple, and the next drawer is pink, red, orange, yellow. And then I have blingy paper, like cardstock that's glittered or metallic, or packaging from candies that have foil and stuff like that. And then the bottom drawer is cardstock, like this kind of stuff that's smaller and that can fit in there. So anyway, aside, I'll do a video on that another day. But I want to start collaging, and I think I'm going to probably use a patterned paper on the inside, so I'll leave that for that probably, or the leather one. So I'm going to collage on the outside. And when I'm collaging, I just want to be careful that if I'm going over the bend, I've got either a nice wide piece. In fact, maybe I'll put a nice wide piece on the bends, and then collage up to it. I found that that works pretty well. So what do I have that's long enough? Nothing. I should. I might have to just rip something. I'll pull out some smaller pieces as I see them here. Butcher's paper is actually a good color. That's the stuff that I was using in the iron-on napkin video. So I had a scrap of it from that day and I stuck it in that drawer. Because of these oranges and peach tones, that may work a little bit. I've got some of this lined paper. I don't know if I really need the ones with the edging for this journal. I've got this in mind for a man, so I don't want it to be all feminine. Oh, I've got Canada checks, but they wouldn't, there's a bit of music paper that's nicely aged. And depending on the size of scraps that I pull, that will determine how I collage. If I have a lot of strips, I may do a strip collage. And I do have a lot of strips on the top here. Interesting textured one. I have to hide my tools on myself. This one. This is a little bag of cardstock scraps. Oh, and then I've got some pattern stuff. That's maybe not quite suitable, but I could use the back side of it. It's a good color. Parchment paper here, but that's not going to stick well, but I might want to use that somewhere. A little bit of wood grain, that's definitely something I can include. And I love these tea or coffee dyed ones that have the diamond grid pattern on them. So I'm just getting the biggest pieces of scrap, it seems, but that's okay. To make for a quicker collage when I get to doing see, I even save when I tear the pages out of a book. This is the spine and all the little leftover bits that were attached to it. I'm really looking forward to using this on a cover or on a journal card. It's got such interesting texture. It's thick, but I think I can use it if it's sticking out of a pocket or if it's on a cover, really grungy cover. I've saved a few of those. There's some more like file folder weight. I'm not sure if I can use that or not. I know it's there. I think it's less likely. I like to collage with felt paper weight. This will get me started, and we'll see what I need after that. Leave that there. Okay, so glue stick for sure. That's from a different project, but that might be helpful here today. These were from my little paint chip booklets, a couple of leftovers, but those colors might work as little accent colors because of some of the colors in these ads. So I'm going to keep those out handy too, even if I use them as like a backer like that behind it, something like that. So let's start with tearing 2 strips about 2 inches wide. And I'm going to be going over the edge of each of these, so it doesn't really matter whether they're straight. My crease will keep me straight when I get to that point. But the idea is to span this crease. And I do want to also fold over the top and bottom edge, so that's why I picked a full sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and crease this. try to place that crease right on the cardboard crease. I could have come down a bit, but in fact I probably should. So I want to fold it over the edge, so I should be careful to be more even, just for so it doesn't want to curl up. I hate doing this, but I don't want to start off wrong. Center it up a bit better this way. There, and there. I'm not going to fold it over yet. I concentrate on getting this fold and my big bone folder still hasn't turned up, so I'm going to use this little one that came with my scoreboard. It's not as hefty, but it will do the job for me. So that, as long as it doesn't buckle. See, I don't mind that little rib that you get. I think that looks good. As long as you've got it nice and even all the way across. This one might be trickier. Actually, I need 2 creases on this one, don't I? Try to keep my fingers from getting too goopy. Okay, center it this way. Do this crease first. Good. This one might be not so great. Let's see. It wasn't pre-creased, but I think it may still work. One first. I'll go back and do that other one again while it's still damp. So that's good. And then this one. This kind of crease is hard to get both of them really straight and good. But I think that's not too bad. Okay, so I'm going to leave those to dry before I wrap them around. Let this spine part harden up a bit. So I'll do that one again. That's a little better. And I'm going to start, I don't think I want to do the strip thing that I said. I think I want it to be a little more random. And I do want torn edges. My conundrum is, do I want inked edges? I'm not sure. Sure about the torn part. And I'll put this one like here. Use that straight edge. I need a glue book. Try to keep myself tidy. And I think I am gonna ink as I go. It'll take a little longer, but I think I prefer that look. And I think one of my TV projects is going to be going through this drawer and tearing a bunch of pieces like this and inking them in front of the television or out on the porch. Might be hard to do if it's windy, but it would get me more prepared for doing this kind of collage. I probably should have some map in this collage as well. I have a tiny little scrap bin here for little strips that I tear off the edges. And then when I get to doing small tags, I will collage with them. They actually work pretty good. So this one might go like somewhere like this, but inked. Especially want the map inked. It looks like burnt edges when you do that. A lot of people have asked me when they see my stuff if I burn the edges. You don't realize that inking is a thing. I try to keep my sponge thing on top of the ink just so that it doesn't dry out too much, especially because I've got the fan on in here today. And maybe this color, a little section of it. It's already got, I think that's a torn edge with the tear ruler. Having them pre-done like that is quite handy, so I think that's going to be a task that I will do. I did that a while ago with some book page, and I've used a lot of them up. I just have a tiny little box that business cards come in, and I didn't ink these ones, but these are all torn into rectangles, so they're kind of more ready to go. I just have to ink them, but I could also do a thing where I ink them. I had a bunch of music paper ones too, the same sort of box, and I did ink them. And they're quite useful to have them pre-done. Even if you tear them a little bit shorter, you're only having to ink one edge then. So that's something that helps you to use the materials. Sometimes you have stuff and you don't use it because it's not easy to use. All of those intersections at the same spot, and I don't want to come right to the spine. I want to leave a little border. So this is sort of the style we're going to do today, this rectangle-ish, and then different textures of paper. They're not really textured, but they have different looks to them. And oh, this coffee dyed paper just doesn't want to tear it wants to tear pretty straight usually, which frustrates me because I like a jaggedy torn edge. I could use the tear ruler on it. You may just have to do that. I'll put these squarer edges down so that maybe, or in, so that maybe they'll end up getting covered. I'm going to leave that point showing. And then there will be another piece that'll come in here. What will it be? Maybe some music. Got map, music. And then because this old paper wants to tear pretty straight, I'm going to tear it with my tear ruler. And it gives it a little bit more of a jagged edge. I do hate to lose that beautiful color edge. But the other thing that I'm going to just stop and do while I'm here is I've been harvesting these numbers out of the tops of the pages to use in collage, little collages usually. So I'll put those aside as I come to them. And I do have a certain little booklet that they belong in, but right now I will just set it aside. And tear this. So I think I'll go, ABC waltz. Do I want to save that wording? I don't think so. I'm going to go ahead and tear all the way down. And then like that, and like that. And this little piece might even come in handy here. I could put it up in the corner here maybe. Get rid of that. Here. Just a bit further over than that piece there. I don't like my edges to line up. When I do collage, I like them to overlap and be offset from each other. So if I put a piece of this somewhere like here, or maybe I want it, no, that can be there, and then I can do that textured paper. I've got a skinny strip of it. Put it right near the spine. And I do the whole bottom edge because I don't know yet which section of it's going to be covered. I know that part of it probably will be covered because I'm going to put another piece down here somewhere. But I don't know what yet, so I just go ahead and ink the whole thing. And I'm going to be changing this page more often today because yesterday my hands got so gluey. I did not like it. I'll go way up there. Ooh, 48 minutes already. I might have to cut some stuff from this video. I'm lollygagging. And then I've got this, which again, I don't want that to line up to. Maybe I'll take this right on down and just have that much, just a little bit difference there. This isn't torn to my liking. I wonder if I can do that. I know this is tedious to watch if it's too long, so I may have to edit. I try not to edit too much. Really, because I haven't figured out how to do it entirely yet, but it'll be a good reason to figure it out. Maybe I'll just take it down to there. Give this a really good inking. It's got some nice texture to it. I don't know. I think I got this. It was just a small roll at the Mission thrift store in the wrapping paper bin where they're rolled up. And And I think it's packaging paper. It's got like little embossed dimples in it. Almost like a checkerboard, but they're not quite square. They're more like rounded. But it's got a nice, it adds a nice textural element. Let's do this. There we go. And now maybe some more map in the center here. I'm just going to take a little strip off of this. Don't let my pieces get too small. I'll just use some small ones around the edges, but try to both speed up the process and make it not too busy at the same time. A map of Ontario probably would have been better. But I find once you tear up the map, you don't really know where it's from anyway. Let that line be fairly straight and let the rest be off kilter. That's hard for me to do, but I did it. And then maybe some more of this down here at the bottom. I need to fill in there first, because that'll line up that way with a torn edge at both ends. Just a tiny one. But I need to fill that little spot in first. So I'll take, I got a little piece of coffee dyed here. There, and then I didn't choose a side first. There's a nicer color on the other side, but it's all good. Just got to fill in up this side. I've got that stuff almost loses its texture, but not quite. Maybe I'll use another piece of it up at the top here. Maybe most of that's going to be gone anyway. Tear it just a little bit straighter. No, I don't want that straight edge. I don't even want that straight edge next to the spine. But I can do it like this. That I like. I do a lot of the collage backgrounds without inking when I'm doing them just for fun. I do like it with ink. It has more depth or something. I can see that my fingers are getting a little sticky because they don't want to let go of the paper. I think what do I put down here? Maybe just some of this, some more music would work. I've got some music that could go there. that's too close to that music, but I could put it down here. It's too close to that music for my liking. Not necessarily too close, but I like to space them out. See, now I've got 1, 2, 3, and I should have one more piece of mat, but I think that's okay because they're such big pieces. And it's okay because I said it is. That's the wonderful thing about this craft, is that no rules thing. I'm going to leave that up because I need to fill in here. So we'll get just a little piece of, do I have some more of that lined paper handy? I know I do have some more. Just might need to dig for it. Oh, there's some right there. They're probably yelling at me. Judy, it's right there. This piece is a little wider. And don't worry, I'm not going to glue it down until I ink it. Yeah, I think I'm going to come up just onto the map. So about here. I was just trying it on for size. A sliver of just coffee dyed or this music paper here beside the, there's a piece that's fairly straight, but it is torn. It's not a cut edge. Let's see how that works. There. And then and that's going to be cut out. That's going to be folded over. There's a little spot down here I need to get to. So that can't be more map. Don't need more music there. What would work best there? Maybe just a piece of regular coffee dyed that's quite strong. Or another piece of this sort of music paper stuff without the music on it would be good too. I can go like that. Perfect. The tearing gods were on my side that time. This paper is very fragile. It's from vintage music books. Has beautiful color. It's great for collaging because it's too, I think it's too fragile to use as a page without some reinforcement on it. So I very much like that. And then I don't know what will be on the cover yet, but it'll be probably one of these. I might tear those edges and ink them really strongly, and like I said, put one of those green borders behind it. Actually, this is kind of the back cover, but that's okay. I can still decorate it up nice. This is the front. So it might need to be something that can be wrapped around. That might work. Don't have to use them whole. Kind of sometimes think you do, but you don't. You just don't. Okay, Okay, I'm gonna start with this because it's sitting there. So the people that I'm sending these journals to, this is going to go along with the strawberry journal down to Ohio. And this is for her husband, Burl. Or one of the boys. They've got two boys too, Christopher and Michael. Michael. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. And so I've got a couple of other ideas for them as well. The little tiny notebooks, I was thinking, something they can throw in their pocket. Let me go this way with a few things. Some more music. And again, that's torn, but it's straight, so it'll go well here. I almost wonder if I shouldn't do the edges first here and then have this overlapping it. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that up here and the other way down here so it's not all, doesn't look so planned. Don't know why I worry about that so much, but it's all part of it. Making the collage look natural, you have to plan it a little bit. You can over-plan it for sure. So I'm going to do this here. I haven't put any of the wood grain in yet. Maybe save that for somewhere else. I should use my tear ruler for that. So it's just a little more attractive. I'll just show you the difference. You get that little jagged edge versus just a straight edge. So I do prefer that. I'm going to do that on both sides. And across the bottom. I think I'll do the wider one, so it's a little different. This hardly even needs inking, but I'm doing it anyway. The edges of the coffee dyed paper often go that beautiful darker tone. Now that may not be overhanging enough, so maybe what I'll do is I'll tear it more and stick something else to it that will bring me roughly lining up with this, just so that when I do my wraparound it's tidy looking. This is going to be enough to go around, I think. I'll put a piece of this with it. Make it a little too small. Do like that. Just in case some of this is exposed. It probably won't all be exposed, but I'm going to put a little glue there. I glued the wrong section of this piece. I want it glued to that, and then I can just glue the back of this. Sorry, I'm being a little quiet. I'm thinking, talking and thinking. Sometimes I think these videos should be silent. that's better. See how I did that? And then I think it's time for some music. Some more right behind me here. So maybe this kind of thing. And I'll cut that with the wide one. It gives me a nice strip to work with. And I'll cut this with the wide one. And that tore on me, so I'll leave that strip for filling in somewhere. And what was I thinking here? Something like this, and coming out to where I can cut it off later. So anyway, going back to my story about the Ohioans, not sure how they say it, the Buckeyes. Of course, Burl married into the family who I'm making the journal for, this journal for. But Diana, her family, has been coming up to Ontario for, well, I know it's over 50 years. I'm not sure if it's more than 55 years. I'm pretty sure that Diana's brother Kim celebrated 50 years at Pinecrest on Rice Lake in 2020, I think. I remember seeing a Facebook post. And they would come up every single summer, usually right around strawberry season, 1st of July kind of thing. I think that's when they always came. We always went over and visited them at the cottage, and usually had like a fish fry or something like that with them, because they were always out fishing all day. We would come for a visit and bring a cooler with some sandwiches and stuff, and there would be desserts. Aunt Ernie would make lots of food, my mom would bring lots of food, and we would have a good visit. I don't really remember going out on the boat much with them, but I do remember playing down in the boathouse. They had, when I was a preteen, they had pinball machines, so that was fun for me back then. Lovely spot. I always felt so important because I knew somebody that was there. There's a lot of people from the States, probably from Ontario and the rest of Canada too, but a lot of people in the States come up here to fish. Maybe I'll put this here where it will be overlapped again. I'm not sure if that's in screen. I'll move it up if it isn't. There. Sorry. It's hard to have everything in screen. And I do need to slip something underneath that or over top of it to come out to the edge. So let's do just a nice piece of coffee dyed there. This is already torn there, so we'll just put that there. Most of it's going to be cut off anyway. And we'll still tear these two edges. that, don't I? Yeah, I do. And then I don't think I need to go over because the cardboard's way back here. I think that'll be enough. I did get a comment from one lady that asked me to try to keep in frame. So I've been trying to pay a little more attention, and also when I start my video, I make sure I expand the viewfinder so that it shows more of my desktop. I don't know if it resets itself sometimes or what, but it doesn't always seem to stay where I set it. That whole thing covered, but it is. I just needed it on that bottom corner. And just make sure it doesn't get stuck down. It'll stiffen it up having that glue on it. And then I could use some more map up here. This map isn't very mappy, but I'll use some of it anyway. Maybe a strip heading up this way. Would be good. Try to just move my pieces around on my book page so that I'm not always gluing in the same spot, and sometimes it has a chance to dry in between. Sometimes it doesn't. So I think I am going to go more. No, I'll stick with my original plan. I'll go down here and give it more overlap. And then a piece going out over the edge here. Maybe some of that lined paper. I've got a different lined paper that I pulled out, but I don't know that I want to introduce it just yet. I want to use that in the journal. I just got a funny idea for this journal. I just came across a tea bag in here in my neutral bin. And Burl, the fellow that I'm making the journal for, he has a real problem when he comes up here. When he orders cold tea, iced tea, he wants it non-sweetened. And of course up here, iced tea is sweetened. It just is. That's just the way it is. So I think what I'm going to do is somewhere in here I'm going to include that tea bag, and I'm going to put a little notation beside it. No tea was sweetened in the making of this journal. I don't know if you'll find that funny, but I do. He has a real problem with it. Like everywhere he goes, he orders iced tea and asks for unsweetened, and everyone just says, looks at him like he's got 6 heads. Like, no, we don't do that. Like, it's already usually out of a can. And I said to him one time, I said, just order a hot tea, no sugar, and a big glass of ice, and make your own iced tea. But I just think that's funny, so I'm going to do that. I think you'll get the joke. I like to include little personal things like that when I can. Oh, that just really needs glue. Actually, I did say that that stiffens it up, so I'm going to go ahead. Keep it consistent. That's my flap and my back, and this is the cover, but it's mostly going to be covered, so I don't know. I think I will have a cute little picture inside, but that you don't see until you open it, maybe. That's what I'll do. Sorry, I'm flip-flopping around here. I'm just switching this over. I work on this right side. I like the way this is looking. So, do a strip, but I want that over top. I think I might use that, but I want it over top of whatever's going on underneath. So I'm going to go ahead and ink the edge and get it ready. Do some smaller pieces, create sort of more of a collage effect. So I started, my son was telling me that Downton Abbey was a good show, and I thought, oh, that looks like a fuddy-duddy show to me. Doesn't look like something I'd like. Well, I decided to give it a try, and I am really enjoying it. And the reason I tried it is because this spring I've been enjoying, well, I like Outlander, which is like old times, 1700s. I really enjoyed Bridgerton. I watched the one with Mr. Darcy. Oh, I can't think of it now. It's a classic. Tell me in the description if you, tell me in the comments if you can tell me what I'm trying to think of. It's a classic novel, and they made a movie of it anyway. And I watched it just recently, and I really enjoyed it. It had that girl from Pirates of the Caribbean, Elizabeth, was in it. Can't think of her real name. Oh, why won't the name of that come to me? Anyway, so I've been enjoying these period, old-timey stories. So I thought I would give Downton Abbey a try. And I really am enjoying it. It's a bit soap opera-ish, but there's a bit of actual history mixed into it because it takes place just after the Titanic sinks, just as the Titanic sinks, it's starting. And so I found that part kind of interesting, where they were talking about, you know, people that had died on the Titanic that they knew, one of them being the heir to the title, I guess, the estate. And so, yeah, we've been enjoying that quite a bit. I need to fill that in before, unless I could go over it. Again, I'm going to glue the whole thing, just not press it down. Just to give it, it's very thin scrapbook paper. It's not doesn't have a lot of substance, so that's the reason I'm going ahead and gluing it. I just won't press around the outside edge so it doesn't stick down. These over here are almost dry, but just reinforced a little bit. And then I'll go, actually I might go this way. I've got that strip that I'm gonna do. It might end up more up here. So I could go in here. And this side. And that's pretty close to this one, so I think I'll put either some of that lined paper or just something lighter first, and then put this up here further. Where was that? Oh, there's not much of this that's not written on. I don't want to include the writing. This is not lined, but it's, I can get a section over here that's lined. And a section here. Might as well do it while I'm at it. Take that logo off of there. And another little bit here. This is a scrap piece of paper where I've done some calculations for a kitchen. And I can still use the other side of these. Yeah, so that works better. And then I'll put this one here. I know some people will watch these longer videos, but it might be too much for others, so I may have to shorten this because I don't really want to cut it off until I at least have this part of the project done, and then I can come back later and show you how I decorate it and finish it off in a different video, I mean. I think I'll do that, but this way, so that the music doesn't get all covered up. Tear this edge. So have any of you watched Downton Abbey or Outlander? Outlander I like because I love anything with time travel. That is almost too close to the same color. Maybe I'd be better off to use this out here. Something like it out there. I think this one is maybe tea dyed just by the color. It's a little bit more yellowy or orangey when I use the orange Pico tea. What else have I got? Oh, I've got some of that darker brown. Could use something like this. I did say I was going to try to use that butcher's paper, but I haven't used it anywhere else yet, so I'll save that for on the inside. Try to keep it cohesive. So something in the craft paper color, but not cardstock, like a paper bag piece. Would be good. And that's double thickness, but I could use it just to get myself off the edge. and then carry on with the music paper from there. Don't need all that wispiness. I love working with brown paper bag. Did a lot of it at the beginning. I need to do some more, get some out and do some stenciling and stamping on them. There's a good strip too that I can incorporate. And then this might be better here, like this. Or even, well, I do need some music down in here. I think I'm going to put it here. What did I say here? Oh, Judie. Something lighter beside it, like maybe this, right beside this piece would look good. And a nice ragged edge coming out over that. Make this piece quite long and cover some ground here. So if I go all the way down to here with it. Turn that around before it sets so that my music doesn't get covered up. More like that. I might need to lift it again, I just realized, but lift that up. That's a good tear. I know that is all going to be covered, so I'm not going to bother. That much I know. I'm going to leave this edge up in case I want to tuck in under it. I'm going to go ahead and put this down because I think up at that top edge I'll let it be overlapped so it looks sort of all integrated, not just stuck on. I don't know if you know what I mean by that, but I'll show you. And I want to come down. Oh, that's so porous. It's stuck down pretty firmly. I didn't want this all intersecting so close together. Maybe I can just go like that and ink that. Now, some more map. Where's my map? I think I've used it all up. Piece I tore off, so I'll tear off another piece. I would like, this is where I said I probably will pick that up because it's just such a small piece of music. I don't want to lose it, and I want to get overlapping that. That'll do. So if I tear this up and tear this up and quickly get this down, I can give those a little bit more glue to help them stay down. When I first started collaging, I used white glue watered down, and I don't really like the texture that it gave me for a finish. It was sort of too shiny, it looked like it had been glued down. Whereas I find with the glue stick, you're left with a much drier looking matte surface if you're using matte paper. And I like that better. So again, I want this. I don't usually do this. Usually just go over top, over top, over top. But I do want these to look more intertwined. So I'll get that down flat in there. And get that down, and then that can go back down. Just looks more natural. Let's just barely overlapping that. And then what would I want next? Something maybe about this tone, something a bit darker. I want map up here. I'll go ahead and do that, but not necessarily all the way across. What I should do is a piece that's got a wider straight edge, although I can trim it. Something like this. And then something else to take up that corner. See that my fingers are sticky because I'm picking up all the little bits. Not as bad as they were yesterday. They were downright goopy yesterday, but it was in the afternoon and it was a lot warmer. It was like 28 degrees here yesterday. Celsius for you Americans. I'm not sure what that is. It's probably around 80 or something. Which might not seem hot to some of you. I know I've got a cousin, I think she's a cousin, in Texas who was complaining about the triple digits. I do feel your pain, although I don't experience that very often in my life. Haven't, anyway. Okay, let's do lining up the top here and the side here. I want to tear here. And along the bottom. Ooh, that just made it. I might have to cut a different piece. No, I can do a strip there that encompasses this little spot. Yeah, Annette Reynolds. I think she would be classed as a cousin to me, cousin of my mom's. Anyway, she lives in Texas now and was posting a picture of some snow the other day, saying she wished she could have some right now. So yeah, I can't really say that I know what that feels like. We get into the 90s is about as high as we get usually. 80s is hot for us. And I don't mind it if it's not too humid. I really don't. Can do without the humidity. I say it's not the heat, it's the humidity. I don't know if I'll be able to rip a tiny strip off of that. It's very difficult to rip small strips off. It's not too bad with this paper because it is so fragile. That's just crumbling off. So that's going this way. Oop, I didn't ink first. Last piece and I forget to ink. did something that I said I wasn't going to do, and that's I'm using this glue book beside me here, and I always told myself that if I came across anything nice in the glue book that I wanted to cut out, I would not glue on it. Actually, that's not too gluey up there, but I was thinking this would make a good fussy cut. And even these slats of wood, that's a very popular decor theme right now. It's not gluey, so maybe I will tear that out, put it in my fussy cut bin. Oh, that's gonna get caught by the fan wind. Okay, so that's my cover. I should put a little piece up here because that's just that background paper. What have I got that's already that sort of size? It could be music because I've got music here, here. One more piece would be good. So I'll just grab a piece. Take it right to the edge. It's the same color as this, but I'm not going to let that bother me this time. I'm just going to bring it down to here. And I'll get that edge that's touching the other piece that's pretty much the same color. I'll get it nice and dark so that you can see that it's two pieces of paper, if that makes sense. There. Well, that's my cover. So please come back to see how I finish this off. I want to get working on it right away, so I'll stop this video and start the next one. And it'll probably come out either a week later or a few days later, depending on how I end up scheduling it. But yeah, do come back. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Most of all, have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.